Radha Krishna Bho Gopala Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Udar ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glory to the all glory to the Thank you very much.
As they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantas, who are very kind to poor-hearted souls, instructed me in that most confidential subject, which is instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself.
Jnanam guhyatamam jat tat sakshat bhagavato ditam annavochan gamishyanta kripaya dinavasala. So, yesterday we have been discussing the symptoms of Guru and the symptoms of disciple. Who is actual disciple and who is actual Guru. It is stated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sakshad Haritena Samasta Shastri Ruktastatha Bhavataiva Sadbhi Kintu Prabhoja Priyaiva Tasya Bande Gura Sri Charanara. So, Guru's position is very exalted. Why exalted? Because he is the confidential servant of Krishna. Kintu Prabhoja Priyaiva Tasya. One, suppose you want to do some business and with some firm and a representative comes to transact business, naturally one tries to satisfy that representative so that the business can be done very fairly. This is natural psychology. Similarly, Kintu Prabhuja Priyaivatas, Guru is very dear to Krishna because his business is to serve Krishna. His business is to execute the will of Krishna. That's why here it is said, Jatta Sakshat Bhagavato Ditam. Sakshat Bhagavato Ditam. Sakshat means directly. What was spoken directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is Jnanam, that is real knowledge. Jnanam Guhyatamam. Guhyatamam, most confidential. Guhya, Guhyatara and Guhyatamam. What is that verse in the 18th chapter? Guhyat Guhyatamam Prabhakshami. The conclusion is that the most confidential knowledge is that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. And what it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Guhyat Guhyatama. Find out this verse. Yes.
Thus I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on this fully, then do what you wish to do.
So Krishna personally giving the most confidential knowledge. And here it is also mentioned that the saintly persons, the Mahatma, they simply spoke what was spoken by Krishna himself directly. That's all. Here it is stated, Annavachon Gamishanta Guhyatamam Jatta Sakshat Bhagavatu. This is very important statement. Jnanam Guhyatamam. The most confidential part of knowledge is that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Anyone who is interested in spiritual knowledge, they will benefit simply by accepting what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. This is Jnana. That is also stated by Krishna, Etat Jnanam, Etat Annathajat Ajnanam. Anything beyond this knowledge, what is spoken by Krishna, that is ajnana, ignorant, that is not jnana. Unfortunately, it has become a fashion now to interpret Bhagavad Gita in their own foolish way and mislead the public. These I have repeatedly spoken in many places that in the Western countries, so many Swamis and Yogis, they went there for the last at least 100 years. 100 years from India, many Swamis and Yogis had been, still they are going. But they could not turn even a single person to Krishna consciousness. Not a single person. Throughout the whole history of this 100 years of Swamis going to the Western country, but could not turn even a single soul to understand Krishna. This is a fact. It is not that I am very proud. No. The truth must be spoken. Why they could not do so? The defect was that they did not say what Krishna said directly. They said their own words. They manufactured their own philosophy. Here, the saintly persons, the Mahatma, Gomishanta, when they were going, they confidentially said what was spoken by Krishna directly. This is the secret of success. Try to understand. Annavochan Gomishanta Kripaya Dinavasara. Guru or Mahatma, they are very merciful. Merciful in this way that they know how a person can be elevated to the topmost platform of knowledge and they can give it. And this is not very difficult. It is said here that Japta Sakshat Bhagavato Ditam. This is mercifulness. A guru's business is to deliver the same message as Krishna says. Then he is Dinavatsala. Otherwise, if he says something else, he is a cheater. He is not good. He must be to the suffering humanity, being kind upon them. Dinavatsala. Dina means very poor. Poor in knowledge. At the present moment, not only at the present moment, always, those who are in the material world, they are very, very poor. Very, very poor. Girinam dina chetasam. Because their mind is very crippled. They are thinking that this duration of life, say 50 years or 20 years or at most 70 or 100 years, this is everything, that's all. Therefore, they are very poor. Their expansion of knowledge is very, very meager. And it is the business of the saintly person to be kind upon them. That this is not the life. You are thinking, making adjustment to live for 50 years or 100 years very comfortably. Or in next life, Kurmis, they also take consideration of the next life to be promoted in the heavenly planet or other higher planetary system, but still they are poor. Poor. Because they are lacking in the knowledge of eternal life, full of knowledge and blissfulness. That they do not know. Satchidananda life. So it
disconnected.
एक सेकंड DLC.
So, it is the business of the Mahatma to enlighten them to the real platform of life. Krishna says personally, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha sansiddhim paramam gata. Bhagavad Gita 8:15. This is real life. To go back to home, back to Godhead, Krishna. Mam upetya. If you go back to home, back to Godhead, that is sansiddhim paramam. That is the highest perfection of life. But generally, almost, why generally? Almost everyone, 99.9% people, they want to become happy within this material world. Therefore, they are poor, very, very poor. And the Mahatmas, they give the knowledge that this is not life, this is a temporary platform. Asashvatam dukkhalayam asashvatam, this is confidential knowledge. You are trying to be happy. Suppose Brahma, he lives for many millions of years, still it is dukkhalayam asashvatam. That life is also temporary. What is millions of years duration of life in comparison to the eternal life? So, beginning from Brahma down to the small ant, whoever is within this material world, it is to be understood that understanding is very poor. Their understanding is very poor, and the Mahatma, being kind upon these poor souls, they deliver the same knowledge as Krishna gives. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. This is Guru's business. Do not manufacture anything. There is no question of. There is no need of manufacturing anything. Simply you speak to the suffering humanity the same thing which Krishna says, Sakshat Bhagavata Uditam. This is the business of Guru. It is clearly said. Narada, he will explain further in the next verses how he became advanced. This verse is very important, that Jnanam Guhyatamam Yattat. Actually, perfect knowledge you can get from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Parampara system, you get that knowledge. Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarsyo Vidhu. Bhagavad Gita 4:2. Parampara means they do not change the word of Krishna. That is Parampara. Krishna says, Man mana bhav mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. Bhagavad Gita 18:65. And the Parampara system says same thing, no change. They never say that I have now become Krishna and you surrender unto me. Think of me. There are many so-called incarnations who are preaching like that. You think of me, same, repeating the same word in his own favor, not in Krishna's favor. That is not Mahatma, that is Duratma. Mahatma means who always speaks in Krishna's favor. That is Mahatma. This is the purport of this verse. Jnanam guhyatamam yattat sakshat bhagavata. Bhagavan says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam braja. So our business should be to repeat the same thing, that you give up all nonsense engagement, simply surrender to Krishna. Simply you think of Krishna, simply become a devotee of Krishna, simply offer obeisances to Krishna. That will make your life successful. This is Mahatma's business, Sakshat. Not indirectly, directly. Here Krishna says, Guhyam, Guhyat Guyhatamam. Read the verse again. Itite, Sunita is saying, Itite Jnanam Akhyatam Guhyat Guyhataram Maya Vimrashyatan Asheshena Yathechasi Tatha Guru, Bhagavad Gita 18:63. Now Prabhupada says, Yathechasi Tatha, the word is used there, Yathechasi Tatha Guru. We have got the little independence. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. But why people are not doing that? Because they have got little independence. Every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna has got the quality of full independence. Naturally, the part and parcel of Krishna, it has also independence, but that is not absolute independence. Just like independent country, America, independent country. We are also now independent country, but the citizens, they have independence dependent on the state independence, not absolute independence. Similarly, we have got independence, we living entities, we have got independence, but dependent on the independence of Krishna, not absolute independence. So, therefore, we become entangled in our own karma. Krishna does not give anyone a position of or karma. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that he does not give anyone a better position or anyone a inferior position. Everyone creates his own position. Krishna simply orders that this is your position. Now you enjoy or suffer. We create our own position. Therefore, the most confidential part of knowledge is Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. That is the Guhyatamam, Jnanam Guhyatamam. The same thing as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam. One who has understood Bhagavad Gita properly, he can understand what is Srimad Bhagavatam. Where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavad Gita teachings of Bhagavad Gita ends at the point when Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja, to surrender. And the Bhagavat begins from that point, Janmadasyataha, Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Satyam Param Dhimahi, surrender. Otherwise, in the next paragraph of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning, Dharma Projhat Ketavotra, Srimad Bhagavat 1:1:2, except surrendering to Krishna, there cannot be any religious system. The real religious system, therefore, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. That is religion, to surrender to Krishna. Otherwise, as it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Projhat Ketavotra, Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:2. All cheating type of religious system is kicked out from Srimad Bhagavatam. Kicked out, Projhat, to merge into the Supreme, to become God, to become incarnation of God. This kind of religious system is very rigidly kicked out from Srimad Bhagavatam, because they are not religion. Real religion is to surrender to Krishna. Therefore it is said, Yat Sakshat Bhagavata Uditam. If you want to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you must abide by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they have no idea who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is His order, what is our relationship with Him. These things are unknown. It is simply known to the, I mean to say, devotees. Why it is monopolized by the devotees, that is also answered in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. Bhagavad Gita 18:55. If you want to know what is God, what is Krishna, then you have to go through this bhakti marg or devotional. There is no other way. Krishna never says that he can be known through speculation or cultivation of so-called speculative knowledge. No. Then he would have said, through Gyan one can understand me. No. Neither karma one can understand, neither yoga. This is explained in many various places of the Shastra. Only bhakti, and it is the duty of the spiritual master or Mahatma to spread bhakti cult. That is the most confidential, that is the most merciful humanitarian activity, because people are suffering for want of this knowledge. Therefore, our Krishna consciousness movement is the only movement, I can declare very proudly, which can actually do some benefit to the human society. It is the only movement. All other bogus movements, I declare, let them come and study the Shastras and decide for themselves. They are all cheating. Only this Bhagavad Bhakti, because you cannot understand Bhagwan without undergoing the process of devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. Bhagavad Gita 18:55. If you want to know in truth tattvataha, Krishna wants that one should understand him tattvataha, not that superficially to take Krishna, that he was very fond of the gopis, and let us hear the Leela of Krishna. Why Krishna's gopis Leela? Why not Krishna's Leela killing the demons? That the people are not interested to hear about Krishna's killing the demons, because the gopis Leela, it appears to be the transaction between young woman and man, is very quickly appeals. But Krishna's other business is there. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam. Bhagavad Gita 4:8. That is also Krishna's Leela. That is Krishna's Leela. Just like Lord Ramchandra is killing the Ravana, that is also Krishna's Leela. Lord Ramchandra's Leela and Krishna's Leela there is. So we should take any Leela of Krishna as supreme, not that simply the most confidential. Vrindavan Leela, Krishna's Leela with the gopis, is the most confidential Leela. We should not entertain this confidential Leela unless we are liberated. It is very difficult subject, and because they cannot understand what is Krishna's Leela, they imitate, they fall down. There are so many things we do not wish to discuss, but we should be. If we are actually serious about advancing in Krishna Leela, then we must know first of all what is Krishna, what he desires, how we shall act. Then we can enter into the confidential part of Krishna's Leela. Otherwise, we shall miss and fall down. So, here it is said that Sakshat Bhagavato Tidam Uditam, that what is Bhagavata? Bhagavat. Krishna never says that first of all you hear my Leela with the gopis. He never says that. He first of all says that you surrender unto me. First of all, learn how to surrender to Krishna. First of all, learn how to love Krishna. Then you can taste what is Krishna's Leela with the gopis. It is just like Mukharavind, just like Krishna's Leela in Dasam Skandha, with the gopis is compared with the Krishna's face, a smiling face. But we have to worship Krishna beginning with the feet, not immediately we shall look to the face of Krishna. We shall misunderstand. First of all, try to be Krishna's devotee by offering your worshipable things at the lotus feet of Krishna. The first canto or second canto of Bhagavad Gita are the two lotus feet of Krishna. So, from the very beginning, we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Gradually, we shall come to the face. That is real understanding of Krishna, and without understanding the other nice cantos of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, if we simply jump over the 10th canto and especially to the 35th chapter, the 5 chapters Ras Panchadhyay, this is not very favorable. Of course, it is favorable Krishna's Leela. You hear anyway, this way or that way. But if we misunderstand Krishna, then there is fall down. That is instructed by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, that don't try to understand Krishna's Leela all of a sudden without understanding Krishna Tattvataha. So, regulative principle to serve as it is stated in the Shastras or as it is enjoined by the spiritual master. Ado Shraddha Tatah Sadhu Sango Atha Bhajan Kriya Tato Anarth Nivritti Syat Tato Nishtha Ruchi Tatha Atha Saktis Tato Bhava Sadhakanam Ayam Premna Pradurbhave Bhavet Kramaha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya chapter 23 and 14 and 15th. Krama. So Deenavatsala, the Mahatmas who instructed Narad Muni that here is the confidential knowledge, please fully surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna. So Narad Muni admits here, Anvavochan Gamishyantaha. Gamishyantaha means the Mahatmas were going. He served for 4 months, so they became very happy. They became very pleased. This is the business, how to make the Mahatma pleased. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasadaha. If you try to please Mahatma, the spiritual master, then bhagavad prasadaha will automatically come. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasadaha. So here it is said, Anvavochan Gamishyantaha Kripya Deenavatsala. Actually, Vaishnava is Deenavatsala. They are very unhappy, just like Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was unhappy seeing the people, degenerated people, suffering in this material world. Prahlad Maharaj said to Nrsimhadev, my dear sir, I have no problem. I am happy anywhere by chanting your holy, by glorifying your activities. But I am simply morose, seeing the fallen down condition. Maya Sukhai Bharam Udvato Vimudhan. Srimad Bhagavat 7:943. I am simply thinking of these rascals who for flickering happiness engage themselves in so many material activities, forgetting your relationship. So, Deenavatsala, the sadhus, they should be very much compassionate to the suffering humanity and give them the message which is spoken directly by Krishna. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. This is the mission of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hari Bol. अब आप लोगों की ओर से कोई प्रश्नोत्तर है? किसके लिए?
Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome His Grace Srivas Pro. Srivas Pro is a member of the governing body commission and also is a spiritual master and a very dedicated devotee. And we are serving ISKCON for many, many years. And it's our fortune that we will be able to hear him now. Hare Krishna.
Magyana Timrinasya Gyanan Gyanashanakaya Kshakshuramalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Lagayate Grimyat Kripatama Halvande Sri Guru Dinantaranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyaptaina Characharam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Thank you very much, Manarupa Prabhu and the wonderful Vaishnavas here in New Delhi. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy to conduct this quiz from the lecture that we just had from His Divine Grace, Lacy Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Very beautiful lecture. In fact, we should listen to the lecture again and again and again. It nourishes our understanding of what it means to be successful. That is what I picked from that lecture. The secret of success is to please the spiritual master. So whoever is working very hard day and night, thinking of how to please the spiritual master, he's already successful. He's already successful. You don't need to die to be successful. You don't need to be old to be successful. You don't need many years to become successful. Just by committing yourself to the service of spiritual master, you're already successful. So, Srila Prabhupada has given us this very beautiful lecture, and I have 20 questions. I was asking Prabhu yesterday, do we give prizes? In Ghana, we give prizes. When we listen to Prabhupada's lectures, we actually make the questions and we supply to devotees, and they answer and they turn them in. And then we mark, and the best student gets some prize. Anyway, the real prize is bhakti. Yes, right. The real prize is not something material. The real prize is bhakti. Krishna enters your heart, and Krishna rewards you with bhakti. So that's the real prize. So I will just ask a question. If you want to answer, just raise your hand so that we don't have two people jamming. You raise your hand. Whoever raises their hand first will be given the chance. So question 1. Why is the Guru's position very exalted? Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu?
Because Guru has only one business, that is to serve Krishna. That's why Guru position is very exalted. He follow exactly the instruction of Lord Sri Krishna.
Thank you. He says, because he is the most confidential servant of Krishna. So, thank you. He is the most confidential servant of Krishna. Kintu Prabhu ya priya ivatasya. The Guru is the most confidential servant of Krishna, therefore his position is very exalted. And if somebody's position is very exalted, it means we must do everything possible to please that person. My Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, told me that his success is pleasing Prabhupada. He started when he joined the temple, he started asking devotees, what is the best way to please Srila Prabhupada? In fact, the first service he was giving was to teach, because he just graduated from Princeton University in psychology. And so they felt he could be a good teacher. So they put him in Dallas. The Gurukula, there was the first Gurukula was in Dallas. So immediately they put him in Dallas. But then he wasn't satisfied with that. So he started asking senior devotees, what is the best way to please Srila Prabhupada? And one devotee told him, if you want to please Srila Prabhupada, you have to distribute his books. And so as soon as he heard that, he went to his GBC. At that time, his GBC was, I think, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He was in charge of Dallas. He went to Tamal Krishna Maharaj and said, Maharaj, I want to leave the classroom. I want to go out and I want to distribute books. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but how can you leave this service? And he said, well, anybody can do this one. Anybody can teach. But what is most important is to go out and distribute Prabhupada's books out there. That is very, very important. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj understood. So he said, all right. And then just around that time, Sansaru Maharaj, he was leading the BBT party. They came to Dallas. So Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj approached Sansaru Maharaj and said, please, I want to join your traveling party. I want to distribute Prabhupada's books. And Sansaru Maharaj said, well, we are looking for men to do this service. So if you want to do it, you are most welcome. So that's how he left the teaching and he joined the BBT party. And he did it so well that Srila Prabhupada himself appreciated it. And Srila Prabhupada blessed him. He said, for taking the trouble to distribute my books so fearlessly without even caring for your own life, your life is already successful. So, if we can somehow or the other please the spiritual master by finding out what he wants us to do, what is most dear to him, and just do that, your life is already successful. Question 2. What is the most confidential knowledge? Srila Prabhupada talked about the most confidential knowledge. What is that most confidential knowledge? Yes, Prabhu. The hand at the back. Mataji. Is it? Mataji. Okay.
The most confidential knowledge is directly spoken by the Supreme Lord.
Yes. The most confidential knowledge is that knowledge spoken directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says that. He says, Guya Guyatara Guyatamam. What is that verse in the 18th chapter? Guyatamam Pravashyami. The conclusion is that the most confidential knowledge is that which is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. So, Bhagavad Gita is confidential knowledge, most confidential knowledge, because it's spoken directly, it's given directly by Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions some 3 things in the Jayavadam. He says Krishna gives his mercy to the devotees in 3 ways. One is Aloka Dana Kripa. Aloka Dana Kripa means Krishna manifests before the devotee. Like we have Sri Radha ParthSarthi standing here. Lakshman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman standing here. Shishigor Nitai standing here. Nrsimhadev Bhagavan standing here. They have manifested themselves right in front of us and we can see them. It is Krishna's mercy. Out of the causeless mercy that Krishna descends in the Aksha Vigraha form to give us this opportunity. Otherwise, we have no qualification. We have no eyes to see Krishna. We don't have the bhakti to see Krishna. But Krishna, out of his kindness, descends as the Aksha Vigraha to give us the opportunity to see him. That is one aspect of Krishna's mercy. When Krishna descends to give his devotee the opportunity to have darshan of him. There is a beautiful story in the Krishna book that there were two devotees, Bahulaswa and Shrutadev, in Mithila. They were desiring to see Krishna, and Krishna understood that these my two devotees, they want to see me. Let me go and give darshan to them. So Krishna traveled all the way from Dwaraka to Mithila with an entourage of sages. And on the way, Krishna gave everyone the opportunity to have darshan of him. That is Aloka Dana Kripa. Then there is Harada Kripa. Harada Kripa means Krishna reveals his presence within the heart of the devotee. Krishna empowers the devotee from within the heart. That is Harada Kripa. Like Shukadeva Goswami, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. Krishna entered their heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered their heart and gave them unlimited mercy so that they could excavate the lost sites of Vrindavan, Krishna's Leela. Then the last one is Vachika Kripa. Vachika Kripa means the mercy of his words. The mercy of Krishna's words. When the gopis were upset with Akura, who had come to take Krishna and Balaram out of Vrindavan to Mathura, they were very upset. So they blocked the road. They formed a human barricade, and they did not allow Akura to drive the chariot out of Vrindavan. And at a point, they were becoming violent because they could not tolerate Krishna leaving Vrindavan. So they began to heckle Akura. They were pulling him down from the chariot. At that time, Krishna spoke. Krishna said, my dear gopis, I have a very important mission to execute in Mathura. So please, do not block Akura's path. Let him take us to Mathura. As soon as I finish that business, I shall return to Vrindavan. And so those words Krishna spoke satisfied the gopis. It solaced them. And immediately they allowed Akura to drive the chariot out of Vrindavan, even though Krishna never physically came back. But those words kept the gopis alive. Krishna will come back. He will certainly come back. That is Vachika Kripa. Krishna gave his mercy to the gopis in those words. At the end of Dwarapa Yuga, Krishna knew he was going to leave. After the battle of Kurukshetra, that was a major activity for Krishna. He wanted to make sure that a devotee, Yudhishthira Maharaj, became the emperor of the world. So he organized Kurukshetra. But Krishna was thinking, when I leave, what kind of mercy am I going to give to the devotees? What kind of mercy am I going to leave behind for the devotees in Kali Yuga? So let me do something. Let me put Arjuna under some illusion so that it will give me the opportunity to speak Bhagavad Gita. And that Bhagavad Gita will be the mercy that I will leave behind for the people in Kali Yuga. So the Bhagavad Gita we have, that is Krishna's mercy. So Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita for our benefit. It's His mercy He has left for us for this age. People, sometimes I try to give people Bhagavad Gita, they say, no, Bhagavad Gita is a book of war. I can't keep it in my house. Misunderstanding. It is Krishna's mercy. It will solve the war in your house. There is a constant war going on between husband and wife, between the family members. And Bhagavad Gita will solve that war. Keep it in your house. It's Krishna's words, it's Krishna's mercy that Krishna has left behind for us. And so, Krishna's words are very confidential, and it is meant for the benefit of the living entity. Question 3. So many swamis have been to America for the last 100 years. But they could not turn one person into a devotee of Krishna, Prabhupada says. What was the reason? Yes, Prabhu?
Because they could not speak the truth.
Yes, because they could not present Krishna's words. Yeah, he said, let me just read that. He said, the truth must be spoken. That is a fact. It is not that I am very proud. The truth must be spoken. Why they could not do so? The defect was that they did not say what Krishna said directly. So because they misrepresented Krishna, they did not present Krishna. They presented themselves. And so there was no potency, no effect. 100 years have passed. So many Bhagavad Gitas translated, but not a single soul became Krishna Bhakta. But as soon as Srila Prabhupada landed in America and started presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, what has happened? Millions of devotees across the world have come. I'm happy to say I'm evidence of that. I'm an evidence of that. There's no way I could have been connected to this wonderful program of Krishna consciousness without Srila Prabhupada leaving the shores of India at a very advanced age and going to America to establish this movement. So, Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice is worth it. It has brought so many people to know about Krishna. And this is expanding like wildfire. Many more people will accept Bhagavad Gita. Many more people will accept Krishna consciousness. Many more people will come to understand the message of Srila Prabhupada. It's certain. It's just a matter of time. People are becoming aware. They are waking up from their slumber to realize that the message A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada has brought, that's the ultimate message. And that is our great fortune. All of us sitting here today, all of us connected to this program today, that is our greatest fortune. And so we should take it very, very seriously. Question 4. In order to become a Dina Vassala or a guru, what must one do? In order to become a Dina Vassala or a guru, what must one do? Yes, anyone?
One must surrender everything to Krishna.
Not exactly. Not exactly. Partly right, but I want the exact answer. Who wants to try? Yes? Yes, have yourself with the microphone. You want to try? Anyone else want to? Yes, Prabhu?
To speak Krishna's words as it is.
That's right. It says a guru's business is to deliver the same message as Krishna says. Then he is Dina Vassala. If you present Krishna's words as Krishna said it, then you are Dina Vatsala. So actually all of us who are presenting Krishna's words as it is. Yes, you go out there and you represent Prabhupada's words, you represent Krishna's words. Sala. Question 5. Srila Prabhupada talks of poverty. What type of poverty does Srila Prabhupada talked about in his lecture? He talked about poverty. And what is the cause of that poverty? So there are two in one. What type of poverty does Srila Prabhupada talked about in the lecture, and what is the cause of that poverty? Yes, Mataji.
Poverty is of lack of knowledge, and it is because 99% of the people wants to be happy in this material world.
People have everything else, but they lack knowledge. Prabhupada said 99.9%. They are in ignorance. They are wallowing in ignorance. And therefore, how can they be happy? The cause of that poverty is lack of knowledge. Poverty is the lack of knowledge is the poverty, and the cause of it is that they are in ignorance. They have no information. And that is why book distribution is so important. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he sowed the seed of this book distribution in the heart of Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta in Vrindavan, in Radhakund, that is where Srila Bhakti Siddhanta told Srila Prabhupada, if you have money, print books. And Srila Prabhupada took that order, that instruction very seriously. So knowledge is so important. In fact, Chanakya Pandit says that just as medicine is a friend to the poor, knowledge is the friend to one on the journey. We are all on a spiritual journey. This life we are going through is a journey. And the destination of the journey is Krishna Loka, if you have the knowledge. If you don't have that knowledge, there is no destination. You just keep repeating the journey. Keep repeating the journey. Million years we have taken birth. Trillion years we've taken birth. Because there's no knowledge. But as soon as we get the knowledge, then we understand our destination is Goloka Vrindavan. And you can only know your destination when you have knowledge. And Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are giving us a wealth of knowledge that gives us our destination. So poverty is not lack of money. Poverty is not lack of resources. Poverty is lack of spiritual knowledge. Question 6. What is real life? Srila Prabhupada talked about real life. What is real life? Any answer? What is real life? Yeah, he said the real life is to go back home, back to Godhead. And it begins with Krishna Bhakti. Real life is to go back home, back to Godhead. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Mam upetya. You go back home, back to Godhead. And that is called Samsiddhim Paramam. And it begins with Bhakti. Question 7. What is the meaning of Mahatma? Prabhupada gives a definition of Mahatma. not in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita gives a different definition, but Prabhupada gives his own definition here. He said, what is the meaning of Mahatma? Some hands are there, Prabhuji.
Mahatma means who always speaks in Krishna's favor.
Exactly, 100%. You got 100 points. He's also Mahatma. All right. He said, one who speaks in Krishna's favor, he is Mahatma. Question 8. Krishna does not give anyone position or karma. Is it true or false? Krishna does not give position or karma to anybody. True or false? Yes.
True.
True, yes. Krishna does not give position to anyone. It is by our activities that we create our own position.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Sorry to bother you. Prabhuji, like all devotees were wondering, like just like you mentioned in the beginning, that how Bhakti Tirth Maharaj was told that by distributing Prabhupada books, you can please him the most. So all the devotees are wondering, since we have like very less time now because Prashadam has started.
Okay.
So if we can end up with a session, like if you could share your story, that how did you join? Because last time you told us, and some new devotees are here, so if you could just enlighten us by sharing your story. Hare Krishna.
Right. I'm sorry, time is limited.
No, Braji. Like,
time is limited.
Devotees were like really wondering, like if you could share.
You can't go through the whole thing, but it's interesting. So anyway, I've told different stories, but they are related. But a popular story is I was interested in spiritual life, and I was going to many places trying to find the truth. And so I joined a particular organization. It's called ISKCON. They are common around the world. They use Bhagavad Gita, they talk about reincarnation, they talk about many things. But they are not devotees, they are impersonalists. So I joined them, and I was trying to study with them. That was around 1981. And then that year, Krishna consciousness came to Ghana. January 1981, Krishna consciousness came to Ghana. And then somewhere around April 1981, there was a conference, a big conference for the whole West Africa, organized by this ISKCON, and they were going to talk about soul travel. They do what they call soul travel through the different planes or planets into the soul plane, into Brahmanjoti. ISKCON. Ek means the soul. In fact, ISKCON means the soul and God is one. They are impersonalists. So in that meeting, it was a huge gathering. And so the devotees had just arrived in Ghana, and they were looking for a place they can blow out everybody. They can throw the bomb, Prabhupada's bombs. So they came there. And so, but they also do like we do. They speak and they ask questions. They open up for questions. So the speaker, they call him Mahanta. He had gone through the spiritual experiences into the spiritual sky, so he says, into the Brahmanjoti. And he was now going to narrate his experience to the audience. So he spoke very wonderfully. And then after he finished speaking, he opened up. He said, you can ask any question. And the devotees, Ekandra Prabhu, Vangelina Mataji, Ekachakra Prabhu, and Mahamantra, they were the devotees who came to the assembly. Ekandra raised his hand and stood up. And he said, my dear Mr. Speaker, I very much appreciate your presentation. But you mentioned one thing I want clarification, because in his statement he said, when you enter the spiritual sky, you hear the flute music. When you enter the spiritual sky, you hear the flute music. So a country will ask, who is that person producing the flute music? And because they're impersonalists, he said nothing. He said nobody. Nobody is responsible. It's just the music of that plane. And the candidate took him on. The candidate said, sorry, I don't agree with you. Then he gave an analogy. He said, for instance, we are in this great hall, auditorium. If you enter this auditorium and you hear some sound and you cannot see the source, does it mean there is no source? Somebody else may come into the auditorium and may not even hear any sound. And somebody else may come into the auditorium, he will hear the sound and he will see the source. So he said these are the different levels of God realization. The ignorant person may not hear any sound. He is very ignorant. The person who is a bit enlightened, he may hear the sound, but he cannot see the source. But a very advanced soul, he can hear the sound, he can see the source. Then he said, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is blowing the flute. But you have no bhakti, therefore you cannot see him. This knocked me very hard. I became very, very alert. I said, these people, they have the highest knowledge. So as soon as the program ended, I was in school, I was in college at that time. We were about 6 of us from the college, we were going to that program. So we came out and we saw them with a small bus. It's written the Hare Krishna Book Mobile. And they have displayed books. So we approached them. And the first book that attracted me was The Science of Self-Realization. So I picked it, and amazingly, I opened exactly the page where Krishna is blowing the flute. Exactly the page Krishna is blowing the flute. And Prabhupada writes underneath, the Supreme Personality of God is blowing the flute. So I said, oh, this is it. So I bought that Science of Self-Realization, and I read it in 2 days, and I went to the temple. And, of course, I didn't become full-time immediately. I was attending, going back and forth, until something really happened. I think the story I told you about Yamadutas? Yes. Something really happened. Krishna wanted to push me into the temple faster. Because I was planning to study abroad, and I was a very brilliant student, so I got some government scholarship and I had to go to Moscow, so I was not thinking about Krishna consciousness. I liked the philosophy, but I didn't want to become full-time devotee. I didn't want to surrender my full life to Krishna consciousness. I just wanted to practice. That's enough. But Krishna didn't want it that way. Krishna wanted me to become a full-time preacher of Krishna consciousness. So, even though I was going to the temple, but I wasn't committed to the principles. I was just studying, reading, hearing, but I was not into following the principles. So I had a friend who was working in the bank, and every weekend he would come to the hostel, he would take me out for drinking. That's the normal thing in the material world. They want rasa, they want taste. And where do you get a taste? Sinful activities. That's where they get their taste from. So this, my friend, will come and take me out at the weekends. So one weekend, he had so much money on him. He said, my friend, today we will drink until we die. He said, just drink as much as you want. He put some money on the counter and said, drink as much as you want. If you are drunk, find your way home. If I'm drunk, I find my way home. We'll come together, but we'll go in different directions. And that was it. I found myself the next day in the hostel with all my hands, elbows bruised, my knees bruised, sores. So I didn't understand. And somebody said he saw me crawling home. I was so drunk that I could not walk. I crawled home. And for 3 days, I could not go for lectures. For 3 days, I cannot even come out. I was just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. And I thought I was going to die. And as I was lying in the hostel, all of a sudden, I saw three people looking very ugly with ropes in their hands. They were standing by my bed. I've never seen them before. So I was so frightened. I jumped out of the bed and ran out. Started screaming. So the cleaners who were cleaning the hostel, they came. I said, what's happening? What is happening? I said, they're there. He said, what are they? I said, go inside, they're there. But when they went inside, they didn't see them. I went back, they were not there again. So I was wondering, am I hallucinating? Is it a dream? What is it? But when I went back to the temple, and somebody was holding the sixth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I saw at the back of the sixth canto of the Bhagavatam where Ajamil is leaving his body and the Yamadutas are dragging Ajamil out of the body. I saw them there. I said, who are these people? And they said, they are Yamadutas. They come to you at the point of death if you are very sinful. I said, I've seen them. I said, how do you see them? So I narrated my experience. And they said, you are very fortunate. Krishna protected you. They would have arrested you that very moment. But because Krishna wants you to become a preacher, Krishna did not allow them to take you. So better you give your life to Krishna and become a preacher. And that is how I just said, okay, Krishna saved me from the Yamadutas. Let me give my life to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
When did you come last week?
I came last night. I came last night and I'm leaving this afternoon.